Part 2, Boundary Conflicts. Chapter 7, Boundaries and Your Family. Nicole had a problem that I, Henry, had seen countless times before. This 30-year-old woman would return from a visit to her parents' home and suffer a deep depression. When she described her problem to me, I asked her if she noticed that every time she went home to visit, she came back extremely depressed. "Why, that's ridiculous," she said. "I don't live there anymore. How could the trip affect me this way?" When I asked her to describe the trip, Nicole told me of social gatherings with old friends and family, time around her dinner table. These were fun, she said, especially when it was only family. "What do you mean, only family?" I asked. "Well, other times my parents would invite some of my friends over, and I didn't like those dinners as well." "Why was that?" Nicole thought for a minute, and then she replied, "I guess I start to feel guilty." She began to recount the subtle remarks her parents would make comparing her friends' lives to hers. They would talk of how wonderful it is for grandparents to have a hands-on role in raising the children. They would talk of the community activities her friends were doing and how wonderful she would be at those activities if she only lived there. The list went on and on. Nicole soon discovered that when she returned home, she felt as if she were bad for living where she lived. She had a nagging sense that she really should do what her parents wanted her to do. Nicole had a common problem. She had made choices on the outside. She had moved away from her family she grew up uh, in to pursue a career on her own. She had been paying her own bills. She had even gotten married and had a child. But on the inside, things were different. She did not have emotional permission to be a separate person, make free choices about her life, and not feel guilty when she did not do what her parents wanted. She could still yield to pressure. The real problem is on the inside. Remember, boundaries define someone's property. Nicole had, and others like her do not really own themselves. People who own their lives do not feel guilty when they make choices about where they are going. They take other people into consideration, but when they make choices for the wishes of others, they are choosing out of love, not guilt. To advance a good, not to avoid being bad. Signs of a lack of boundaries. Let's look at some common signs of a lack of boundary with the family we grew up in. Catching the virus. A common scenario is this: one spouse doesn't have good emotional boundaries with the family he grew up in, his family of origin. Then, when he has contact with them by phone or in person, he becomes depressed, argumentative, self critical, uh, perfectionistic, angry, combative, or withdrawn. It is as though he catches something from his family of origin and passes it on to his immediate family. His family of origin has the power to affect his new family in a trickle-down effect. One sure sign of boundary problems is when your relationship have one person has the power to affect your relationships with others. You are giving one person way too much power in your life. I remember one young woman who made steadily gains in therapy until she talked to her mother. When she would withdraw for 3 weeks, she would say things like, "I'm not changing at all. I'm not getting any better. fusing with many of her mother's ideas about her, she wasn't able to stay separate. This fusion with her mother affected her other relationships. She virtually shut everyone out of her life after an interaction with her mother. Her mother owned her life, she was not her own. Second fiddle. You wouldn't believe how she is with him, Dan said. She totally focuses on every wish. When he criticizes her, she tries harder, and she practically ignores me. I'm tired of being the second man in her life. Dan wasn't talking about Megan's lover, he was talking about her father. Dan was tired of feeling like Megan cared more about her father's wishes than his. This is a common sign of a lack of boundaries with the family of origin. The spouse feels like he gets leftovers. He feels as if his mate's real alliance is with her parents. The spouse hasn't completed the living before cleaving process. She has a boundary problem. God has designed the process whereby a man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Genesis 2, verse 24. The Hebrew word for leave comes from a root word that means to loosen, or to relinquish, or forsake. For marriage to work, the spouse needs to loosen her ties with her family of origin, the forge and forge new ones with the new family she is creating through marriage. This does not mean that husbands and wives shouldn't have a relationship with their extended families, but they do need to set clear boundaries with their families of origin. Many marriages fail because one partner fails to set clear boundaries with the family of origin, and the spouse and children get leftovers. May I have my allowance, please? Terry and Sherry were an attractive couple. They owned a big house and went on lavish vacations. Their children took piano lessons and ballet, went to summer camps, and had their own skis, ice skates, and electronic gadgets. Terry and Sherry had all the trappings of success, but there was one problem. This lifestyle was not supported by Terry's paycheck. Terry and Sherry received much financial help from his family. Terry's family had always wanted the best for him, and they had always helped him get in. They had contributed to the house, the vacations, and the children's hobbies. While this allowed Terry and Sherry to have things that they could not otherwise have, it cost them dearly as well. The periodic bailouts from his parents cut into Terry's self-respect, and Sherry felt as if she couldn't spend any money without consulting her in-laws, since they contributed the funds. Terry illustrates a common boundary problem for young adults today, both married and single. He was not yet an adult financially. He could not set boundaries on his parents' desire for him and Sherry to have everything we have. He also found that he had so fused with their ideas of success that he had trouble saying no to these wishes in himself. He wasn't sure he wanted to forsake the gift and handouts for a greater sense of independence. Terry's story is the upside of the financial boundary problem. There is also the I'm in trouble side. Many adult children perpetually get into financial messes because of irresponsibility, drug or alcohol use, out of control spending, or the modern I haven't found my niche syndrome. Their parents continue to finance this road of failure and irresponsibility, thinking that this time they'll do better. In reality, they are crippling their children for life, preventing them from achieving independence. Adults who do not stand on their own financially are still children. To be an adult, you must live within your means and pay for your own failures. Mom, where are my socks? In the perpetual child syndrome, a person may be financially on his own, but he allows his family of origin to perform certain life management functions. This adult child often hangs out at mom's and dad's house, vacations with them, drops off laundry, and eats many meals there. He is mom or dad's closest confidant, sharing everything with them. At 30 something, he hasn't found his career niche, and he has no savings, no retirement plan, and no health insurance. On the surface, these things may not appear to be serious problems, but often mom and dad are symbolically keeping their adult child, from emotionally leaving home. This frequently happens in friendly, loving families where things are so nice it's hard to leave. Psychologists often refer to this as the enmeshed family, one in which the children do not separate with clear boundaries. It does not look like a problem because everyone gets along so well. The family is very happy with one another. However, the adult children's other adult relationships may be dysfunctional. They may choose black sheep friends and lovers. They may be unable to commit to a member of the opposite sex or to a career. Often their finances are a problem. They have large and multiple credit card balances and usually are behind on their taxes. Although they may be earning their own way daily, they never think about the future. This is essentially an adolescent financial life. Adolescents make enough money to buy a surfboard, stereo, or dress, but do not think past the immediate present to the future. Did I make enough money for the pleasure of this weekend? Adolescents and adult children who have not separated from their parents are still under parental protection, and it's a parent's job to think about the future.